Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the very first Pyro Studios live stream. For those of you who have been following me on the Variable Design podcast, welcome. Thanks for coming on over and checking us out. We've got some new and exciting stuff going on here as we kick off the What the Faux series. Now, you might be asking yourself, Russ, why did you start another YouTube channel? The Variable's great. We love it. And you know what? I do too, which is why I just am here to tell you, don't you worry, guys. We're still going to be cranking out all kinds of awesome content on the Variable Design podcast, and our live Q&As are going to still be taking place, but there's a difference between talking the talk and walking the walk. And that's why we decided that we're going to kick off the Pyro Studios channel, and we're going to show you some of that stuff that we talk all about, and we're going to put some stuff into practice, which is super exciting. So, guys, get comfortable, grab yourself your favorite beverage as we sit down and we talk some design, showcase some stuff, and get things going. So, before I get jumping into things, I do want to clarify a little bit and showcase, okay, our mission here is to come up with ideas, do some design work, some minimum viable design work to get the product in a convincing state where we can then go live and create content to showcase online. And our hope is that as we do that, we're going to demonstrate and practice innovation collaboratively as a group. We're going to showcase and develop our design skills, and then we're going to help build our design community, because heaven knows we could certainly use a lot more connection and mentorship. So today what we're going to be doing, we're going to kick things off with a design warm-up, and we have a specific mission. We are going to be creating our very first faux duct, our very first faux product. We're going to be talking about what kind of visual brand language we want to establish for that, basic utility of this app that we're going to make, some basic iconography, and then we're going to demonstrate some Illustrator tools and After Effects application stuff. So lots of cool things going on. You guys are more than welcome. I threw a link down below in our Discord. We have our kickoff warm-up already set up there. So join along with us as we go through the steps to do that. If you went to our Discord, here, I'm going to pull it up right now. You'll see that we have a little design prompt, and it's nothing exciting. I think as designers, we get a little too married to the idea that everything needs to be sexy and so awesome whenever we're creating sketch work, that we're, especially if we're going to post it online. But here we're going to be raw and real. We're going to just put it all out there for you guys. And we're starting off with just a quick little exercise to get the juices flowing. And this is what I used to do in high school to just kind of activate both sides of the brain. This is the squiggle game, where all we've got is a little doodle on the page. Feel free to go in our Discord. There's the We Are Live channel there, and you can download these. And I would love to see some of the things you guys come up with, because what you're going to do and what I'm going to do right here, we're going to set a 5-minute timer, and we're going to take each of these little scribbles and turn them into a face or a character or something interesting. This is just a warm-up to get things going. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you give me a holler down here in the chat on YouTube, as well as over on a Discord channel. So we're going to set that timer, get that going. Okay. Now, honestly, part of me really wants to make this like fantastic, but I'm going to purposely keep it loosey-goosey and crappy, because you guys have to feel okay with doing that. And don't mind me if I like mute the mic, because nobody likes to like breathe into it as they're thinking through their sketches. Hey, Carlos. Thanks for joining us in. There you go. Nothing spectacular, but there's a design warm-up number 1 with a doodle face. Let's move on to our next one. Oh, man. A challenging one. Maybe get a nose right in here. If you're just coming in, we're just trying to get the juices flowing. We've got some random squiggles on the page. Can you turn it into a face? Can you turn it into a character? And it's not meant to be sexy. It's meant to be goofy. It's meant to be funny and odd. Because we take ourselves too seriously as designers way too often. And we got to just get over that. Our little kissy face lady. Is it really lady-esque? We need to give her some eyelashes. Beautiful. Please, if you guys have some over on Discord, shoot it in the chat. Show me what you've been doodling as we've been getting things rolling. Alex, thanks for joining, man. We are just doodling to get things rolling. Got some random scribbles down in Discord that you can download. Heck, if you guys have just a pad of paper, it's nothing sacred. You can make your own random doodle and see if you can turn it into a character. And it's not like we're doing happy trees. Maybe I should do that. Happy accidents. Have our happy trees. Oh, Carl. I should have come with a fro. We got 1 minute to go. Okay. Let's get on our last guy here for a quick warm up. Oh, crud. He's harder. And I got like this Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated nose going on right here. Doesn't he? Maybe it's a microphone. All right. We are warmed up. There we go. Oh, perfect. Perfect freaking timing. We've completed our quick warm-up as we're getting the juices flowing. I'm excited to brainstorm some of the new ideas with you guys today. Like I said before, we're going to take this whole purpose of this this channel is we'll do live streams to give you an opportunity, collaborate with us as we come up with ideas for some products that we can just model to the extent that it's believable. And people go, what? Is that like real? There's a series on YouTube right now called Unnecessary Inventions. This is a spin-off of kind of what they're doing over there, which is awesome, but I'd like to focus a little bit more on the designery aspect of it and have some utility. It'll be similar, but what's fun is you guys get to have an opportunity to brainstorm some of these ideas with us, to come up with funny zingers that we can add to a commercial, and then we're going to make a short spot for these designs. And For our very, very first product that we're going to be working on, we are going to make an app. Now, I'm kind of getting some flack on it from some people as to why would you choose as an industrial designer to start off your channel and focus on and showcase a project that's just an app. Well, first off, if somebody says it's just an app, you need to like stop them right there, because app development is like freaking hard to do. And anybody who has done it can testify of that. And so, yeah, we're going to start off with that, but mostly because sometimes there's wisdom in starting with something that you got the tools for. And in this case, what does it take for us to mock up something with enough fidelity that it's almost like of a believable thing? It takes me sitting down in Illustrator, coming up with some ideas, showcasing them with a little bit of smoke and mirrors on a green screen camera, which we're going to do a demo with you later on how we can do something like that. And then we just make it, which is freaking awesome. Now, I've got some folks that we've also got a live video chat over here. I know, Justin, you were in just a minute ago. If you're able to drop on in, we'll gladly introduce you to the crew. Justin's my co-host over on the Variable Design Podcast. He's popped in. There's a few people down in the discussion here on Discord as well that have come over from the Variable. You guys were too shy to post all of your stuff. So if you're watching this after the fact, go on in. I'm sure we're going to see some of those warm-ups. Oh my goodness, Justin, you decided to join us. Oh my heavens, dude. Good to see you. How's life?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
It's good. It's good, man.
Did you get your scribbles all done? Hey, there you go. There's your warm-up. That's awesome, man. Thanks for joining on the show. This is going to be fun. Like I said, kick back, grab a cold one. We're going to be talking about an app. I've loosely described. We're going to make an app, and this is what the app is. It's, at first I called it the usual app, because I noticed when I sat in lines at places, it just so happens that I worked at a fast food chain for many, many years, and I found myself comparing other people's performance in the drive-thru to my own. And I'd say, man, I bet you I could have knocked that out already. I would have been done with their order if people could order faster. I'm like, well, how can people order faster? Imagine if all you had to do was walk into your favorite restaurant and you just beep your phone and your order is in. And I called it the usual app because everybody gets the same freaking thing every time they go someplace, right? Am I right? Justin, when you go to a restaurant, do you get something different every time? Or do you generally get the same freaking thing? No, you get the same freaking thing. Yeah. I always get the same thing too. So why do we have this? It's kind of asinine. Why do we have this need to talk to somebody? And people in the comments, I can see it already percolating through. I'm bracing for it. Yes, you can order online and have it delivered. I get that. I don't like paying for delivery. Do you like paying for delivery? I mean, Justin, no. I don't. I'm not. Sorry. I don't usually I don't usually pay for delivery. It's a lot more. It's a lot more. When you look at the total when you're done, you're like, nope, screw it. And so you go to the place. And so the idea is that we make this app, the usual app, so you can walk in there, beep it right there, and nobody has to have any interaction at all. And so we can brainstorm a little bit later, guys, as far as what angle we could take on a commercial. That would be hilarious, because we've got a couple different aspects of, one, you don't have to talk to anybody. So you can capitalize on that point where you're like, maybe the story that's being told is some grumpy geezer who just hates talking with people and just about has had enough of humanity by the time he gets in contact with this super happy, joyful cashier who gives him a super happy greeting, and he loses it and he says, or you can just beep it and not talk to anybody. And then I've got another funny idea that pushes the envelope a little bit, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But in the meantime, what I thought would be fun, we've got our warm-up going, I know that there's a bunch of creatives who are connected with us here. If you've got Illustrator on your computer, you're more than welcome to pull it up. What we're going to do, I thought would be fun, is to showcase and do a little demo, because I know that a good industrial designer is a good graphic designer as well. And if you don't have some of those graphic design chops quite yet, and you feel a little bit like a fish out of water, maybe there's a few different things that we'll show you here in our quick live, that a few tools you can add to your quiver and can help you out in being a little bit more comfortable. So I'm going to get Illustrator pulled up right here and open up a new file. Sweet. So usually whenever I'm doing stuff, I do a lot of work in filmmaking, and your aspect ratio, obviously HD is going to be 1920 by 1080, but we want this in a vertical format because it's on a mobile phone. So you just create, maybe, there we go, Illustrator, you did it. So we've got ourselves our artboard right here. Close this out. And we're going to just start off with the vertical format. Here, the good question is what are some of the essential elements of an app? And that's where, Justin, if you want to like pipe in, if you have some thoughts, I don't know if you've done any app design, down in the comments if you guys have as well, some of the essential elements of good app design. I'm not going to get it totally deep in the weeds on those semantics, but I want to just mock something up super fast with you guys. Probably the only thing that I'm going to do tonight is just our loading screen. Like perhaps when you click the button as things are loading, it shows it here, because what I want to do is show how you can mock something up real fast. We'll pull it into After Effects. And what's funny is like this kind of goes into like fringe skills that you wouldn't generally think of as an industrial designer. But I tell you guys, if you're able to take some of these other programs and master them as well, that just increases your value as an industrial designer tenfold, because not only can you come up with good ideas, you can showcase those good ideas, and then you can sell those ideas, which is what the point of what we do is, right? To actually sell stuff. So let's get back over it. So I'm going to mock up two different things. Probably let's start with like a dark format. Let's just start off like with a base color that's black gray. And I'm not completely, that's the other thing too. Whenever you're sitting with a client and you're discussing color palettes and you're discussing looks and feels and things like that, the best advice that I ever got from somebody was when they told me that the question that you need to ask your clients isn't, do you like this? Instead, it should be, does it work? So I'm randomly throwing some stuff out here, and I'm sure that it could be picked apart by design professionals out there who have spent years and years designing stuff specifically for the restaurant industry. And you know what? I would iterate on this. We're going on the fly here, but we're going to see what we can come up with in terms of just a quick logo, maybe, and then throw in some colors together, mock it up, and we're going to bring that over into After Effects. And I've already done some work beforehand. We'll have a little, movie magic. Remember those cooking shows? They'd slide it into the oven and then bing, suddenly they pull it back out and it's done. We're going to do a little bit of that tonight, guys. So if we were going to go with, there's either two titles that I would go for with this app. One being, so it's like the usual app. Somebody suggested in our Discord calling it the Usual. So you guys came up with that idea. I'm not necessarily sold on it 100%, but what the heck? So the problem is in English, we don't really have a j letter. And so I really don't know how we would spell the Usual, but that's the closest that I would get to it. USHE. Any other suggestions? You guys got a better use typing? Maybe with a Z. I think my Russian friends would say a UZHE, but I feel like nobody in their right mind here in the States would know how the heck to say that. That's okay. We're all about weird pronounced things, right? Here, I'm going to get some little background tunes going in here as we get going. So we got one is the huge, and then the other one that I want to call it is the QWIK app. And the idea that we had, I told you that I would tell you it later. The idea that we had for a second commercial. So there's like the usual one where you got some grump who goes in there and just beeps his thing. And he's like, okay, I'm happy. I didn't have to talk to anybody. The other one is calling it the QWIK app. And when you go into the counter to check out, it's called getting your order done that way is getting a quickie. And so when you place your order, getting a quickie makes you happy. It makes everybody in line happy. It makes the person at the cash register happy. Getting a quickie makes everyone happy. Perhaps that's too vulgar. I don't know. Throw it down in the chat to see what you think. Let us know. All right, I'm going to shut my mouth and let's mock up some stuff right here. I'm going to pick some of my favorite, fonts to work with. Baby, this is not bad, but I happen to be a big fan of Acumen Variable Pro just because it says variable in it. And that's the font I use for the variable. And like I said, we're just going to crank something out fast here, guys. So one thing that we do often whenever we're like trying to add some interest and whatnot to our fonts, we'll have different weights to it. You get too thin though. A good rule of thumb when you're doing graphic design is for contrast, can you squint at it and still read what it says? If you squint at it and you can't even see it, so I look at that it's just way too thin. I can't even read it. And so I'm kind of cycling through the different weights. That one probably semi-condensed. That works out right there. And then we can just go like this, the QWIK app. And who knows, maybe we just throw a circle on there like this. Hotkey for you guys, Control-2 locks layers. You notice as I was trying to click on it, it was just getting in my way. That background is too. If I do Control-2, that locks it. So that just makes my life that much easier to lock it up. And then Control-Alt-2 is to undo that. So just a little quick advice for you. If you hold Alt down, you can see those double arrows show up here in Illustrator. That allows you to duplicate a shape pretty easy, so you don't have to do like copy paste. So that's something. I'd like to, in some way, shape, or form, show like motion. And I don't know if having like multiple rings like that would do it. That's kind of giving me like a retro vibe. But I'm almost thinking let's keep it cleaner and simpler. We're gonna just take this sucker, bulk up. Oh no, my audio's in and out. Okay, well thanks for letting me know. Is it the music in the background that's making it so it's cut in and out? Is that better? Thanks for letting me know, guys. Okay. So this is something else that you can do. So I'm going to unlock those layers there. As you can see, I'm already gravitating towards like this blue side. I'm going to convert it to outlines. That's Command Shift, Control Shift O. Edit. Path. I'm going to offset our path here. About like 20. And you're looking at that going, what the heck, Russ, are you doing? Oh, be patient, my Padawan. I will show you. Maybe. There we go. So we've got all of this stuff here. We've converted the text to outlines. I'm going to hit Control G to group it. And I took all of that offset stuff. I'm going to paste it in place. And I'm using the Pathfinder tool to hook it all up together. And then what we're going to do is we can use that to mask out the pieces. So that line, we have some separation on that line. If I just made it blue and I moved it to the back, then you'd see it like, there you go. See how it knocked that out visually? What we can also do is just make that a contrasting color. Boom. All right. Am I in love with it? I mean, it's something. It's something to work with. And you know what? I might just swap that out for white now that I'm in that. Do I like that? We do the white on the background. Then maybe we do this. Problem with that is, see, we're playing with different color combinations here. You squint at that from a distance. Where is it drawing your attention to? It's drawing attention to the app. And I don't know that I would ever be like, for an official logo for an app, I would say the blank app. But we're just having fun here. And so if we're going to do that, I think it's better decision to make is this. Where we take the and app. We're going to go like this. Boom. Sweet. And now we've got a white stroke on that. Why do we do that, guys? There. You know what? I'm liking the QWIK app, and for the sake of brevity, we're just going to go with that, guys, for our little mock-up. So say we got ourselves a logo. Done. And what's nice, whenever you've got excuse me, whenever you have different layers in Illustrator and then you pull them into After Effects, it will separate those assets out and they will become individual editable layers. So that's something to keep in mind. So if I wanted to take this logo, pull it into After Effects and make it have some cool reveal, something that I would definitely do is I would go in here and I would make a few different layers. Like I would take the right there, and I would move it onto its own layer. Paste it in. So now the is here, not the. We've got the there. QWIK would go on its own, and app would go on its own. So then we could have here. Won't cut corners. Let's just do it real fast. Paste in place. Let's get app in here. Boom. All right. Aiden, I just seeing you. Hey, I'm excited to see your creative workflow. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. All right. So we got QWIK on its own app. We're going to throw app on its own layer. Ta-da. Oh, another trick. Guys, if you ever just want to move something from one layer to another. I don't know. It took me forever to just, maybe it's stupid advice, but you never know. And maybe somebody didn't know that you could do that. You could just take that dot and move it up to the other layer. Boom. The QWIK app, and say we've got the circle right here. Right now, the background. So we'll make the background layer. This blue one, throw it down. We'll go back. And then, so if I turn off all these things, the only thing that's left is this weird shape and the circle that goes around it. That's okay. So I'm going to make the mask is going to stay on this one. We'll label it mask. And then, boom, we're going to move the circle over here. Cool. Now we've got ourselves just this quick little thing. Let's say that we'll just make it say loading, as if the app is loading. And this is a fun thing I'll show you. So we got loading. Oh, son of a gun. Guys give me stage fright, I guess. We'll make it loading. I don't really want to draw too much attention to the loading. We'll make it a little bit smaller. So there you go. Say you just clicked on the menu and it's saying it's loading. It's the QWIK app. And let's make loading have its own. So this, for reference, just get in the habit when you're creating vector artwork, try and just put things in their own layers. Boom. And we're going to save this real fast. Let's go throw this in the Pyro Studios. And then the app mockup. Beautimous. Okay, cool. All right, guys, we're done with Illustrator. So we've mocked up some fake app. And now say you've done that work for a client. You've designed some user interface and they're like, great, now we want to put it in a commercial. And you're like, okay. They're like, can you have everything like ready and coded and developed so that we can showcase it on screen and type on it? You're like, well, I mean, yeah, you can do that. Or we fake the crap out of it. And I'm going to show you quick and dirty, how you would just do that. Because you guys all know in Hollywood, they've got their smoke and mirrors where they can like take anything and make it look so real. I'm not claiming that we're in the same in the same level, but we're going to show some cool tools right here. And you can do that yourself. Anybody over in YouTube land having issues with audio? Ooh, we've got some good resources for the build. Awesome. Hey, I'm going to put it down and I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to throw it down in the chat for all you guys in YouTube. Over on Discord, Andre recommended that we go check out a super fast color palette generator. There you go. That is super helpful. Sometimes you just need a little bit of help coming up with a good palette and just swapping things out. Okay. We're ready to rock and roll, guys. I've got After Effects pulled up. So if you guys aren't familiar with Envato Elements, that is the magic place that I went to download this bad boy right here. Nothing fancy. We've got ourselves a phone and somebody just swipes up. Ooh, cool. This is all you need to create some awesome magic. So for any students that are out there who are thinking about like, ooh, like I want to make a design for some app, like this could be some cool stuff that you could add to your portfolio, just make it a little bit fancier. And for not that much extra effort, I'll add, okay? So there's a few different components to this right now. We've got ourselves, and I blocked it out into different layers for you. We've got our original, and I'll show how I did it. I've got the tracked. But what has to happen is we have to be able to track this phone and like paste something to it. Because if you watch it, here, I'll go back and play back. If you try to just stick a shape in there, it's not moving with the phone, and the phone's moving on the screen more than you think it is. So it's got to be tracked. It needs to be tracked pretty darn well. And so I've seen people try and like stick something in there and then like have it and keyframe in movement. Oh, you're killing yourself, guys. Don't do that. So I'm going to hide, duck out that layer there. We're going to open up this tracked. Here, I'm going to duck out the original one. Let's take a look at this tracked one. And if I go to the effects here, included in every After Effects seat, there's a third-party app called Mocha. Now, granted, it's like a watered-down version, but it is still way better than the tracking app inside of After Effects. Just telling you right now, because I've tried it both ways, and yeah, it kind of works. So I already did some tracking on there, but before I do that, I think it's probably wise. I don't want to ruin the track that I already did. I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. So I'm going back to the original one. We're going to go to the effects over here, and we're going to type in Mocha. That's our Mocha AE. Boom, drop it over here on the original, and we'll click on this to open up Mocha. Thank you, computer. Mocha is starting. No, I got it on the wrong screen here. Let's pull it on over so you can see. All right. My screens are wigging out here. Because I'm like between. There we go. For some reason, it's struggling with OBS. There you go. My computer blows up, guys. I know, I need to update things. So what we're going to do is, if you're going to track something inside of Mocha, it's really, really handy because all you have to really do is loosely take a shape. And it's going to reference everything inside of there. Now, what we're going to eventually do is apply a 4-corner pin distort, which will help keep everything not only left to right, up and down, but like bending in the right framed spot. So we would do that by taking this, and then we'll add skew perspective as well. We're going to have show surface enabled. And what this is when I click show surface, these are the corners of where your pins would actually go for that composition that has your screen content on it. So I try and match it up to those edges really, really well. And really, guys, that's it. Then what you would do is you would hit this track button right there. I'm scared to hit that track button right now because it just might make everything explode, because it does take a lot of processing power. And what it does is it goes frame by frame by frame, and it's going to analyze the footage and make a good track for you. So now that that's done, I'm going to close out of this. I'm not going to hit save because I've already done this. This is our magic already baked cake through the magic, on a cooking show. We've already tracked it. Here it is. And we go into Mocha. If I pull that up, excuse me. If we go into Mocha and I just hit play, you can see that it snapped all of that. And that box actually moves with it very well. So if you guys find yourself struggling, now it's bouncing backwards. So if you find yourself struggling with the regular After Effects tools to track something, switch over to Mocha. It's the best. And I'm sure there's even better tools out there. So cool. We've got data. We've tracked it. And so we can make it go on its spot. But then got a couple things left. We have to assign the layer to track with it. So we have to take that data and put it towards something. And then we got to get rid of that green and replace it. Not too complicated. So what I did is I made another composition within After Effects. Now, I'm not going to go super deep into the way that compositions work, but think of it like a file hierarchy system. So when you have various files and you're trying to go between everything. So here's my Pyro Studios one. Here's this, and I can go into stock assets, and then it has other folders inside of it. With all those folders within folders, you can do it similarly whenever you're working in After Effects, where you've got like its own mini project baked into another project into another one. Okay, that was my very crappy explanation of how compositions work, but essentially I made a new composition. That's the little button right here, and when I created that composition, I set it to not a width of 1920 by a height of 1080. I did it the other way, 1080 by 1920. I created that, and that is this app content thing. Inside of here, I just made a solid and I stuck test. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to eradicate that junk, and we're going to go over and pull in the Illustrator content that we just whipped up, pulled out of our backside right now. And we've got our app mockup, and you can just drag it all over. Now there's a couple options. We can have a composition where you can put it in as footage, which makes it so you can pick which specific layer. I'm just going to hit composition. It makes another comp that I don't really need. So we're going to just get rid of that. Boom. And then it has the layers right here. Just take all those layers, hold shift, and drag them over onto our timeline. Now here we go. We've got our stuff. This is interesting. It centered all of that. So maybe it would have been smarter. That's odd. Usually that'll work. So it's kind of, we've got ourselves like a little bit of a Escher effect, a comp within a comp within a comp. whatever, for the sake of brevity. Usually I would try and clean this up so I have the layers just one level deep, but fine, they're in the right spot the way it is like this. So we've got our demo composition. We've tracked it, and I took the effect layer and I went over here and I specified that I want to do a corner pin to the app content layer as the source, and I hit apply. And once I hit apply, boom, this is what we ended up with. So now we've got this floating layer. The problem is we've got this finger and it's on top of everything. So what needs to happen is we need to key out all of the green. The way that I did that was I went over here to the effects channel. So this one, I just multiplied. So I just duplicated this original tracked version. And to get out the green, these are just different color keys. These effects, I did it a few different times because guess what? It's not a perfect single color green. Multiple shades of green on the freaking thing. So I had to pick one color shade of green, pick another one, and just fart around with these color tolerances. And I used a key cleaner to kind of clean up those edges on it because they were a little jaggedy. And then I used the advanced, what is it called? The advanced spill suppressor. Because what happens is sometimes if you have like a green light, spilling light onto your face or the adjacent surface. And how do you get rid of that? Well, that's the tool, the effect right there. You drop that on in there and you erase all of them. Now, right now, everything's set to full resolution. And if I tried to play back at full resolution with all those effects on it, like I have to work at quarter res on my computer. It would just explode. And we're streaming right now. That's unheard of. So I did myself a favor and I just rendered it out as a movie with half of transparency. So now we've got our app content and our keyframe footage, boom, stuck on there. So I'm just going to hide all of those other layers so it cleans up just the view a little bit. So now here we've got our app mock-up. We tracked the motion of our little mobile device, and then we keyed out all the green and we stuck it in there. Is there a little tweaking that I would do on the perspective a little bit? I mean, yeah, it's not perfect right now, but this is just to show you the concept. So if I play that back, now what's fun is we can actually go into the app content, into this mock-up area right here, and say we wanted to like, you could animate stuff in here, if that makes sense. So just as a demonstration, what I'll do is make a new null object. And this is something that's also really helpful for you guys too. So if you've got a null object, allows you, it's just a dummy shape. It's not even a shape. It's just a thing. And you can do parent-child relationships. So we can do the QWIK app and take that mask and we can have it all parent to that null object. When I take the null object and I can go here to transform and scale, I can have it, I'm going to go scale up to 100% and then say have it start at 0. Come on. 0. Cool. So now, wow, that is slow, right? So we can make it snap and then like bounce if we just have it do a few. Just have it be faster, right? And I love this plugin. Do I have my plugin? My bouncer plugin? I do. This guy, ukramedia.net. Can't say enough about those guys. When it comes to motion graphics and free plugins and 100%, man, this is such a cool little doodad. Little plugin. It enables me to just take 2 keyframes like that, and I can set it to bounce if I just go to scale, highlight those things, and I hit overshoot, and I hit bounce. Could I not do that in keyframe, have it overshoot, and then change? Here, let me show you what it does. So right now it goes boing. Could I keyframe that? Well, yeah, I could. But why would you do that when you can just use that, highlight them, and then like, poof, done? No joke. Don't do that to yourself. Yeah, sorry. I get so caught in my work. I'm just looking over here. Rex, man. Envato Elements is freaking magic. And yes, I agree. We got all of them except for that circle. What's kind of fun we could do. Let's duplicate this null. Not the bouncer. I'm going to duplicate the null because that one has the keyframes in it. So that's another little fancy hotkey. I'm hitting U. U exposes where the keyframes are. And I've got this keyframe here. And if I hit U, let's say I just scooch it over 1 or 2 keyframes. And then go far enough out that it would have settled. And I'm going to take the circle. I'm going to parent it to this null. So we'll call this text null. And this one I'm going to call circle null. And then watch what we've got going on. It's going to have it offset. Oh, freaking hey, man. That's awesome. So now, just for kicks and giggles, we made a little bit. I'm going to save this real quick. We've gone for a while, and then have you guys ever done that where you're like, oh, this is going great, and then suddenly it crashes? You're like, crap. I've done that. So now what we've got out in our composition, we need to work on our time on that map comp. Here, well, let's push it out just a little bit. Now let's see. Boing. There you go. There you go. Did you see that? And so if there was something that needed to be swiped, it'd swipe up. You see, now it's like animated on a screen. You download it as a free thing off of the internet. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird, but that kind of stuff just gets me going, and I'm excited when I see that. So we're definitely going to be using some of these tips and tricks. As industrial designers, we use all kinds of different tools. We do 3D printing. We do model making. We use foam and all of that. We're going to do that here on the channel, do some demos, but the goal is we're going to make fun product well enough, for real enough that somebody's going to look at it and go, what the faux? It's a product. It's a fake product. And we're going to make a video ad about it. And the hope is, quite truthfully, is that it's going to, showcase some skills, because we're Pyro Studios. It's a collective group of various creative agencies. We all found that we give each other referrals all the time anyway. And we're a group of buddies that have our respective companies. We have filmmakers, Epic Light Media. We have the variable design. We're doing industrial design, motion graphics with Epic. And then we have web developers and engineers. And so we were always giving each other all this business anyway, up to this point. And it was like, all right, well, let's just kind of make this collaborative studio. Oh my goodness. Rex Allen. Rex Allen would like to join. All right, I'm going to let you on in, Rex. Rex, buddy, how's it going? Freaking Rex. Yeah, let me get you on the split screen. Dude, how's life? It's good to see you and good to talk with you. Speaking of one of our collaborators, here, Rex, just scooch a little bit over. I know I need to edit my OBS. A little to your left. Little to your left.
I'm
Maybe
right
not.
in the middle.
I know, but you got to scoot a little on my screen, dude. It was Justin who, now he's going the wrong way. anyhow, speaking of one of the collaborative groups that we work with, Stokeship, Rex Allen is a total boss, and he creates content all the time. You saw we just whipped together some quick, dirty logo, threw it on a screen. We would obviously spend more time finessing this before we put out a final product and so forth. But just for this particular exercise, in showcasing some different tools, I don't know. You saw what we were doing up to this point. What are some other suggestions for people who are kind of looking to step up their game? Maybe, even business owners. This was a little bit of a how-to to do some of the stuff if they want to do it on their own. But I don't know. Just spit some freaking wisdom at us, okay, Rex?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the people of this audience, certainly we're most of us are designers, right? So we're looking to hone our craft, maybe learn some new skills to level up what we're already doing, right? But
Sure.
It's interesting. I think, businesses come in all shapes and sizes, and I think new business owners, especially, a lot of times they might have more time on their hands and less money on their hands, right? So they try to DIY stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of the content that I produce is kind of helping those business owners or marketers or whatever kind of learn to DIY their brand and kind of go through those exercises to craft and hone a brand and the messaging and eventually the design, right? And then hopefully, your business grows to a point where you're kind of beyond your level of DIYing it, and then you hire professionals like Russ or myself or whoever, to come in and kind of take it to the next level. So YouTube's obviously a great place to learn a lot of stuff. That's where I learned a lot of my chops.
Right?
Yeah, went to engineering school instead of design school, so I've had to kind of learn a lot of that stuff.
Well, there's
DIY,
there's something to be said about that, though. It's like there's going to come a point where you're always going to have to punch up, and you're doing something you feel a little bit out of your element, and that's okay. That's how I started doing motion graphics. Obviously, this wasn't like the pinnacle of my. This isn't my Sistine Chapel. What I did here tonight. I've done some other more elaborate and cooler stuff, but that's how I started off, was just learning how to keyframe some things, doing that, and that even just doing some of those things made all the difference in my presentations. And honestly, sometimes that smoke and mirror effect can be all the difference when it comes to getting your product out there. Are you matching our head sizes now? That looks great.
I feel bad. Like I get into that like big head over there. I can only go so far back before my mic falls off the table. So.
No, that's great.
That's the benefit of having, a $2,500 lens up there.
Right? Yeah, you can just zoom on out. Well, anyhow,
that wasn't even OBS zoom.
Yeah, good for you, man. That's a nice business. Must be good if you're getting yourself a nice lens like that. I'm just sticking with my kit. Sony Alpha 6400 does the trick, and that's where I'm at. Anyhow, I digress. When it comes to next steps, what we're going to do is we're going to be capturing things internally, be pulling in some other friends like Rex here, and we'll do some design sprints. We're going to flesh out that. Excuse me, I'm going to grab a drink real quick. I'm like... Next steps is we're going to be taking those concepts, fleshing them out, and we're going to be making a real ad. So where you step in next is helping us with our scripting challenge, because we have a couple different directions that we can go on this project. Because it's got to be funny. It's got to be Harmon Brothers funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm gonna have to mute myself if I guess my body is telling me to shut up.
Get over it with it already.
Anyhow, so when you guys get an opportunity, if you see this later, if you've watched this live on repeat, and you're rewatching it later, head on over to our Discord, invite some of your designer friends. We want to hear what some of your ideas are as far as what could be hilarious.
Dude, you're struggling. You got to get a drink, bro.
I really do. What's something right here in my throat? What are some of the ideas? And then for this app in particular, but then also some of the other product ideas. We have some ideas for ways to help empower parents to get their kids to do what they're supposed to be doing. One of those ideas is, imagine in my house, my kids fail to put their cups away. And so we have like a plethora of cups. So I want to design, not actually working, but done well enough and modeled well enough that it could be a believable commercial, that there's this shelf that has cups on it, one for every person. And when their cup disappears for too long, it connects with smart devices throughout the house. and they start turning off. So imagine,
Like they lose their screen time if their cup's not there.
Yes. So they're sitting there and they're all watching TV. Imagine a commercial. Some mom is like, you know, some women think that they have the power. This is true power. And the cup is missing. And suddenly kids are watching TV and the lights turn off. And all the kids start going, oh no, oh no.
Whose cup is missing?
Whose cup is missing? And they're like attacking each other. Is it you? Is it you? And they start looking. Who's missing the cup? And then suddenly the TV turns off. Then the fan turns off. And then the Wi-Fi turns off. And then there's smart thermostats too. It could be smeltering heat outside.
Down in Arizona, the house is like 110 inside.
Yeah, and suddenly the AC just turns off. And then at the end of the commercial, it's like, oops, it was me and dad was sitting on the cup or something funny like that. And so what would a high design shelf that has cups on it look like? And somebody gave us an idea of a spin-off of that could easily be, he knew a family that had a bowl with pebbles inside the bowl. And when kids did their very specific jobs, they were gifted the pebble that would get put in the bowl. And when the bowl had enough pebbles in it, then the TV could then be turned on and work. Well, you could make a bowl, you could make a thing that once it's full, all the slots have the little puck in it or whatever, then it allows electricity to get to the TV. So we're just thinking about funny things that have at least a grain of grounded something.
Utility.
Yeah. Something that's kind of like, oh, maybe. You know what I mean? And then it can.
What we need to do is start to patent all these ideas and then sell them for like a bunch of money, and then we don't ever have to work again. All we have to do is come up with crazy dumb ideas and then like sell them to big companies, and like we're done. Like,
man, we need to get a patent attorney on here and talk with us about that, because I mean, I have my experiences when it comes to IP and ideas about it, and for a lot of people, they have big ideas and they invest a ton of money into something, and now they've just got a really expensive piece of paper that protects an idea that they run out of money and they don't get it off the ground. So maybe, but almost what's more important than that, I've learned, and maybe I'm wrong. Some patent attorney is going to be down in the comments and just blow me up, I'm sure. But
I bet we have like at least 10 watching this video right now.
Oh yeah. They're gonna be like, oh well, actually no, you do need protection. But it almost seems what's more valuable is speed to market can be such a valuable thing, and I'm sure that we could dedicate a whole conversation to that. But I know it's late where you're at, Rex. Appreciate you jumping in.
Yeah, I'm about to start the night's worth of work tonight. So
goodness, man. Thanks for joining in here on the show. I want to take this last opportunity to encourage all of you guys to subscribe. This is a brand new channel. We need you. We need you over in Discord, hitting up coming up with ideas with us, and sharing your concepts. We encourage you to participate. And yeah, we're just excited to do this with you. Hit me up if you have any questions. Russ at thevariable.design. If you want to learn more about the ins and outs in the business of design, that's our other channel where we talk about design. We've got Steve Casalino, who's going to be coming on this next season. We have Joey Celadon, who's going to be joining us as well. Awesome designers, lots of great stuff over there, but tons of cool projects over here as well. We'll keep you posted, and we'll see you guys next time.